What's up guys, Austin Beck here again with some tips on screaming and whatnot. In this edition I'm going to basically be showing the different types of screams there are out there. People have tried classifying that there's only like 2 or 3 different types of screams, but there's actually a lot more. Ever since the 80s until now there's probably a total of 10 different types of screams. A lot of people don't use some of the older screams anymore, a lot of the old King Diamond stuff and whatnot. But I'm going to be teaching the different types of screams, and hopefully you can listen to them, see which ones work best for you. Try them all, just see what happens. If you want a good example of all these different types of screams, pick up any Tribunal Records mix CD. They've got like every type of screamer you can imagine on those CDs. Now the first scream I'm going to do, just because it's the most strain on my voice and on my throat, is the high-pitched scream. This is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a very high-pitched scream. It, to me, should only be used in bits and pieces as a song. It probably shouldn't be used throughout the whole song, but there are some bands that like to do that. And that would basically be something like this. Yeah, I just won't spread their wings! You know, something like that. It's very high pitched. There's people that have gone higher, but that's about as high as I can go. Once again, I think it only sounds good when you say bits and pieces, not the whole damn song. Now, the next scream is the one that I use, which is known mostly as the mid scream. And it's exactly as it sounds. It's not quite as high as the high, and it's not quite as low as the low. Now, the mid scream is probably also one of the easier ones on your throat, on your lungs, and altogether one of the better ones to do. And you can do it throughout an entire song. It's also the most knownly used one. And it would basically be, yeah, they just won't spread their wings! Now there's also a subsidiary to the mid-range. That one that I just did was the louder, more powerful one. There's also one which I call the whisper mid. Now you're not actually whispering, but it's a lot quieter and gives you, what it basically does is let you say stuff for a lot longer because you're not putting out quite as much energy. And it would basically be, yeah, they just spread their wings. So see, it's a lot more raspy, a lot more whispery, but it puts a lot less strain on your throat, so you can be saying stuff for a long time. You can do some long ass songs and do vocals throughout the whole way. Now we've come to the low scream, or the death metal scream. This is one I haven't mastered just because once again, I'm not a huge fan of this type of scream, and also I think this one should only be used in bits and pieces of songs, but this is another one that people have used for the entire vocal line, which to me it just sounds silly after a while. And angels won't spread their wings. Now this one people can get a lot deeper. I've tried every now and then, but I just can't quite get to that super deep that some people do. Now a lot of people get the deeper sound by cupping the microphone and basically making a little sound chamber in there. And angels won't spread their wings. But once again, I think it's only something that should be used very rarely. Now, since we're on the topic of low screams, there's a scream that is actually very rarely used, but it's an interesting scream. It's a quiet scream. I call it the Anthony scream only because I had a buddy, Anthony, back in elementary school, and he would like to pretend that he was some death metal guy before death metal was even really that big. And what he would basically do is, basically it's like a rumble. Angels won't spread their wings. You know, it's not a very commonly used one, but it's something to kind of throw out there every now and then. You know, you can just use it in bits and pieces. It's quiet, it's interesting to say the least. Of course, always there's the inhale scream, which I suck at doing sentences for the inhale scream. For inhale screams, I mostly can do the that long scream that a lot of people do while solo's going on or something like that. Trying to do it in sentences is usually a little bit harder for me. And angels won't spread their wings. It just doesn't sound good when I do that. And the last one on my list, I'm not saying this is the last one, period. There's more screams out there that I just haven't listened to enough to try to perfect or anything, or even attempt. But the last one is another commonly used one, which is the talking scream, which basically, it's like as if you're just yelling. I mean, you're not really just on stage yelling, but it sounds like it because it's just like you're talking with a distorted voice. And angels won't spread their wings! You know, it's basically the same. It's a lot like the mid, but with less distortion, so you can hear the vocals a little bit more clear. Okay, so that's it. That was like 6 screams, just to give you an idea of the different types of screams that are out there. Mess with them, see which one works best for you. Take my advice, only use certain ones like the very high and the very low. Use those for bits and pieces of songs because, for one, it sounds better, and 2, those are the kind that if you do every song for like an hour set, it could start to really screw up your vocals. If you have any questions, just ask.